You're listening to a song you've heard 100 times before, and then it happens that guitar solo kicks in, the vocalist hits a note that seems to crack open the sky, and suddenly goosebumps race across your arms. A shiver runs down your spine. For a brief moment, you feel something almost impossible to describe. It's like the music has reached inside your chest and touched something you didn't know was there. This phenomenon has a name. Scientists call it musical frisson, from the French word for shiver. If you've ever wondered why certain melodies hit you so hard they make you physically react, you're not alone. Researchers have been studying this for decades, and what they've discovered reveals something profound about how your brain works and what it means to be human. Here's what's fascinating. Not everyone experiences musical frisson. Studies suggest that only about 50 to 55% of people report feeling chills when listening to music. If you're one of them, consider yourself part of a curious neurological club. But even if you've never felt a shiver from a song, understanding why it happens tells us remarkable things about personality, brain structure, and the mysterious connection between sound and emotion. So let's dive into what's actually happening inside your skull when music moves you to tears or gives you goosebumps. When you hear music you love, multiple brain regions light up simultaneously. But there's one area that's particularly important, the nucleus accumbens. This small structure sits deep within your brain and is part of your reward system, the same circuitry that lights up when you eat delicious food, win money, or fall in love. When you hear a song that gives you chills, your nucleus accumbens floods your brain with dopamine, that feel-good chemical associated with pleasure and reward. But here's the twist. Research shows that this dopamine release actually starts before the moment that gives you chills. Your brain is anticipating the reward, building up expectation. It's like standing at the top of a roller coaster right before the drop. This anticipation is crucial. Most music that produces frisson follows certain patterns. Composers and songwriters have known this intuitively for centuries. The formula involves building tension and then releasing it. A gradual crescendo that gets louder and more intense, harmonies that create yearning, a melody that climbs higher and higher, and then resolution. When that resolution comes, your brain releases its chemical reward, and you feel it as chills. Think about the last song that gave you goosebumps. Chances are, there was some kind of build-up involved. Maybe the instruments dropped out, leaving just a voice, before the full band came crashing back in. Maybe a key change elevated everything to a new emotional plane. These aren't accidents, they're techniques that musicians use to manipulate your emotional state. Another major factor is what researchers call musical appoggiaturas, a note that clashes with the harmony just enough to create tension before resolving. When Adele sings "Never Mind, I'll Find" in "Someone Like You," that little catch on "find" is an appoggiatura. The note doesn't quite fit, and that mismatch makes the resolution feel like an emotional release. Leonard Cohen was a master of this technique. So was Freddie Mercury. So was Billie Eilish. Different genres, different eras, but the same fundamental principle. Create tension, then release it. Your brain loves this pattern because it mirrors how emotion itself works. Now here's something unexpected. Your brain treats music almost like language. There's a concept called musical expectation. When you listen to music, your brain constantly predicts what will come next based on your previous listening experience. You've internalized the grammar of music without realizing it. When a composer subverts these expectations in just the right way, not too much, not too little, that's when the magic happens. A completely predictable song is boring. A completely unpredictable song is chaos. But a song that balances expectation with surprise hits what psychologists call the Goldilocks zone of aesthetic experience. And when a song nails this balance, your brain rewards you with chills. This might explain why you often get the strongest chills from songs you've heard before. Your brain knows what's coming, which means it can anticipate the emotional payoff even more intensely. It's also why live performances can be so powerful. Even familiar songs might have subtle variations that keep your brain engaged. Now let's talk about evolution. Why would your brain evolve a response to music that looks exactly like a response to cold temperatures? Goosebumps, after all, are what mammals get when they're cold or frightened. The muscles at the base of each hair follicle contract, causing hair to stand up. In furry animals, this creates insulation and makes the animal look bigger to predators. But humans don't have enough fur for this to be useful anymore. The answer might lie in our social evolution. Some researchers believe that musical frisson is connected to our ancient need to bond with others. Music has always been a communal activity. Our ancestors sang together, drummed together, moved together. The chills you feel might be a remnant of an ancient response that helped synchronize groups, creating feelings of unity. When you get goosebumps at a concert surrounded by thousands of people singing along, you're experiencing something humans have felt for tens of thousands of years. This evolutionary perspective might also explain why sad music can give you chills. Sad songs often trigger the release of prolactin, a hormone associated with bonding and consolation. Your brain recognizes the sadness in the music, but also recognizes that you're safe. This creates a kind of pleasurable melancholy, a safe way to process difficult emotions. Now here's where things get really interesting. Remember how not everyone experiences musical frisson? Researchers have discovered something surprising about the people who do. Studies have found a strong correlation between musical chills and a personality trait called openness to experience. People high in this trait tend to be creative, curious, and attuned to their inner emotional lives. But here's the catch. It's not just about being sensitive. The key difference seems to be something researchers call cognitive absorption. It's the ability to lose yourself completely in an experience, to forget about your surroundings and merge with the music. If you've ever been so absorbed in a song that you didn't hear someone calling your name, you know what this feels like. This capacity for absorption appears to be a prerequisite for frisson. Neuroimaging studies have revealed another intriguing difference. People who experience musical chills tend to have more connections between the auditory processing areas of their brains and the emotional processing areas. There's a superhighway between what they hear and what they feel. This suggests that musical frisson isn't just about personality, it's about fundamental differences in brain architecture. And get this, some people can actually control their chills. A small subset of frisson-prone individuals report being able to give themselves goosebumps on command without any external stimulation. These people seem to have unusual access to the brain regions involved in the frisson response. Scientists are still trying to understand exactly how this works, but it points to something fascinating. The boundary between conscious control and automatic emotional response isn't as fixed as we might think. So what does all this mean for you? If you're someone who gets chills from music, research suggests that people who experience musical frisson also tend to experience more positive emotions in general. They're often more empathetic and better at regulating their moods. The same neural pathways that allow music to give you chills may also help you navigate the emotional landscape of daily life. But even if you never get goosebumps from a song, music still affects you in profound ways. The same dopamine systems are at work, just perhaps not as intensely. And there are other ways to experience transcendence through nature, through art, through connection with others. Before we wrap up, I want to leave you with something to think about. The next time a song gives you chills, pay attention to the moment. Notice what just happened in the music. Was there a crescendo? A key change? An unexpected harmony? Understanding the mechanics won't diminish the magic. If anything, it might deepen your appreciation for the incredible choreography between sound and brain. And consider this: every time you feel those goosebumps, you're participating in something uniquely human. No other animal creates music the way we do. That shiver running down your spine isn't just a neurological quirk, it's evidence of your brain's extraordinary capacity to find meaning, to create emotion from abstract sound. In a world that often feels disconnected, the ability to be genuinely moved by music is a gift. It's a reminder that you're alive, that you can feel, that there are moments worth savoring. So go ahead, put on that song that always gets you. Turn it up. Close your eyes. And when the chills come, don't just let them happen. Pay attention. Because in that moment, you're witnessing something remarkable. Your brain, doing what it evolved to do, turning sound into pure feeling. Music has been with us since the beginning of human history. We've found flutes carved from bone that are over 40,000 years old. Our ancestors sang before they built cities, before they wrote. And across all that time, humans have sought out those moments when music becomes more than sound, when it becomes a physical sensation, a wave of emotion. Those chills you feel? They're your brain telling you that something important is happening. And in a world full of noise, that's worth listening to.